I turned 55 alone. Not because I chose to, not because I needed space, but because everyone I loved decided I wasn't worth their time. For weeks leading up to my birthday, my wife, Jessica, and even my own damn parents kept teasing me with the same line. There's a surprise coming. Just wait, you're gonna love it. She smiled that smug smile she always wore when she thought she had the upper hand. I thought maybe it was a cabin getaway, or that old Corvette I always talked about. Hell, even dinner with the family would have meant the world to me. But on the day, nothing. Not a call. Not a message. I stood in our living room at 6 p.m., the table set for 6, steaks marinating, wine breathing, and silence. Then it happened. My phone buzzed. A single link from an unknown number. I clicked it, thinking maybe someone accidentally sent me something, maybe a surprise video. What I saw was my entire world crashing. A video, sunny, golden beaches, cobblestone streets, high-end boutiques. My parents, my wife, her best friend Rachel, and some guy I didn't recognize at first. Until Jessica wrapped both arms around his neck, laughed into his ear, and kissed him like I was already dead. Then the voiceover came. My mother's voice. He won't be hurt by this. He's strong. He'll understand. Happy birthday, sweetheart. That was the end of the clip. I sat there, phone in hand, face frozen, like someone just poured acid into my ears. Not even a sorry, just that smug, pitiful, he won't be hurt by this. They were sipping wine in Rome, while I was sipping dust in Ohio. No cake. No call. No wife. No dignity. I didn't cry. Not at first. I just stared at the screen. Played the video again. Paused on Jessica's face, mid-laugh, her lipstick smudged against a man who wasn't me. I zoomed in, checked his watch. Rolex. Checked his hand. No ring. I felt something inside me die. I didn't call anyone. Not my wife. Not my parents. I went on autopilot. Walked upstairs, opened her closet. Empty. She took the good luggage. Hers and mine. She even left my socks on the floor like she wanted me to know she didn't care. That night, I didn't sleep. I just sat in our bed. The sheets still smelled like her perfume, Versace Dylan Blue, fake affection in a bottle. The next morning, I posted a photo of myself on Instagram. Me, shirtless, in the gym. Caption, stronger than ever. Then I went further. Booked a local yacht ride with Tanya, a friend from work who always had too much cleavage and too much interest in a married man. I let her post a picture of me holding her waist, looking into her eyes like I'd never been married. 3 hours later, my phone nearly exploded. 299 missed calls. From Jessica, my mom, my dad, even Rachel. Suddenly, I was the problem. Now they cared. But I didn't answer. Not yet. Because deep down, I wasn't sure what I wanted more, revenge or answers. And in that moment, between silence and rage, I knew one thing for sure. The surprise wasn't over. I let the calls pile up. I watched the screen light up again, Jessica, then mom, then unknown number. Probably that smug bastard with the Rolex, trying to do damage control now that I flipped the script. I didn't answer any of them. Not because I was calm. Not because I was above it. But because if I spoke to any of them, I would have lost it. I would have said something I couldn't unsay. Something dark. Something I'd regret only because it gave them the satisfaction of seeing me crack. Instead, I grabbed a whiskey, neat, and sat back in the leather chair Jessica once called the ugliest piece of furniture she's ever allowed into her life. That chair had seen me through long nights, big wins, and now? It would hold me as I tried to put together the shattered bones of whatever was left of my self-respect. I opened her laptop. She didn't log out. Her emails? A landfill of betrayal. There were threads with Rachel, giggling in typed form about how Tom is just too dull to notice. Tom. That's me. Dull. That's what she called the man who put her through med school, paid off her student loans, and rebuilt her credit after she maxed out cards trying to become a lifestyle influencer. And then I saw his name. Chase Langston. It sounded fake. Like a romance novel character or a guy who sells yachts to the rich and stupid. I searched him. CEO of some startup that made money off people's loneliness. Dating app with an AI twist. His face popped up, smug and golden tanned. The same face in the video, pressed against my wife's. Their messages were sickening. Can't wait till we're alone in Paris again. Jess, you make me feel like I own the world. And her reply? You already own me, baby. I only belong to you. I choked. I literally choked reading it. Not just on whiskey, on rage. She said those words to me once. When we first moved into our home. The one she now used as her storage unit while she played mistress in Europe. And then I opened the attachments. Photos. Not the kind you want to see. Intimate moments that burned themselves into my brain like acid through cloth. Not just him and her, but them, together in my shirts, in hotel beds, making a goddamn joke out of everything I thought was sacred. I closed the laptop. Not because I was done, because I couldn't take more without punching through a wall. My fists were shaking. I looked down at my hands, veined, scarred, the hands of a man who built a life, a business, a family. Hands now useless to fix the one thing that mattered most, trust. Then her text came through. We need to talk. It's not what it looks like. Are you joking? She couldn't even find the decency to show up to my birthday dinner. But now she had the guts to pretend this was all just a misunderstanding? A minute later, another message. Chase and I, it just happened. It was complicated. I still love you. I didn't want you to find out like this. Didn't want me to find out like this? Like how, Jess? On my birthday, while you and your lover clink wine glasses in Florence, and my parents cheer you on like I'm a burden they finally tossed? I poured another drink. This one burned less. The numb was setting in. My doorbell rang. It was Tanya again. She brought a bottle of wine and a smile I wasn't ready for. She stepped in without asking, placed her hand on my chest, and whispered, "You look like you need someone who actually sees you." And for a second, I considered it. Not for love. Not for comfort. For revenge. But I stopped. Not because I'm noble. Because I didn't want to become what she already turned me into, a bitter, broken version of myself scrambling for scraps of validation. Instead, I kissed Tanya on the cheek, thanked her, and told her I needed time. When she left, I opened my phone and typed a message. Just one sentence. You made your choice. Now live with it. I had sinned. And for the first time in 24 hours, I breathed. 2 hours later, she was on my porch. Jessica, dressed like she came straight from a magazine shoot. High heels, black coat, sunglasses even though the sun was down. She stood there like she hadn't just shattered my life in high definition. I opened the door slowly, not because I was hesitant, but because I wanted her to feel the weight of the silence she created. Tom, she started, voice soft like she was auditioning for pity. I know this looks bad. I didn't say a word. Just leaned against the doorframe and waited for the circus to begin. She pulled off her glasses, eyes red, but not from crying. From trying to look like she cried. I didn't plan any of this, she said. It just got out of control. You kissed him in front of my parents, I said flatly. That's not out of control. That's planned. Her lips trembled. They were just trying to support me. Support you? By abandoning me on my birthday and flying to Europe to toast your affair. She didn't answer that. Just looked down, like the floor had something more forgiving than my eyes. I was suffocating, Tom, she finally said. You never changed. You were always just here. Predictable. Boring. There it was. The truth. The mask peeled back. I took a slow breath. So Chase gave you what I couldn't? She smirked, actually smirked, and said, he made me feel alive again. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because the absurdity had hit its peak. You felt alive when you sent me that video? That was Mom's idea, she said quickly. She thought, if you saw how happy we were, maybe you'd stop clinging. Clinging. That's what 2 decades of loyalty got reduced to. I stepped aside. Get your stuff. What? Your stuff. Get it. Tonight. You don't live here anymore. Tom, don't be dramatic. Dramatic? Jessica, you staged a disappearing act on my birthday and sent me a breakup tape from Europe with my family in it. That's not drama, that's sociopathy. Her face tightened. I just needed a break. I crossed my arms. Did Chase need a break too? Or is he just renting you until the next rich idiot walks by? That hit. She flinched. But then came the venom. The part one expected. You think you're some kind of victim, she snapped. You checked out years ago, Tom. You didn't listen. You didn't ask about my needs. You let yourself go. You stopped seeing me. I stepped closer, voice low. No. I trusted you. I worked so you could chase your brand, take yoga retreats, post filtered versions of your life. I let you be free because I believed you'd still come home. She turned away like my words were wind. Cold and useless. I'll get my things tomorrow, she muttered. You'll get them now. Or I'll have them on the curb by morning. Jessica looked at me, something dark behind her eyes, but she knew I wasn't bluffing. She walked inside, collected a few bags she left behind in her rush to Italy, and made a show of slamming the door behind her. As I watched her drive off, a part of me wanted to scream. Another part wanted to collapse. But I didn't. Instead, I walked to the garage, pulled out the box I hadn't touched in years, old journals, old letters, a photo album labeled Tom and Jess. I lit a fire in the backyard pit, and one by one, fed the pages in. I watched the corners curl, the colors fade. Our wedding photo was the last to go. Her smile was frozen in time, long before betrayal sunk its claws into her. My phone buzzed again. This time from Rachel. You went too far. She's devastated. You should be ashamed. I stared at the message, then typed my reply. Tell Chase he can have her. Just make sure she doesn't forget to bring her lies. And I blocked the number. That night, I slept for 3 hours. Woke up gasping. Not from nightmares, but from the weight of grief sitting on my chest like a demon. She didn't just cheat. She rewrote our story like I was nothing more than a side note. But I wasn't done, because what came next would make her regret ever thinking I was weak. The next morning, I changed every lock on the house. Front door, garage, even the damn mailbox. I wanted no trace of her left. I called a locksmith and told him, make it so even God needs a key to get in. He laughed. I didn't. By 10 a.m., I was holding her wedding ring tucked away in the little dish she used for earrings, and I walked to the nearest pawn shop. Didn't say a word, just slid it across the counter. The guy looked at it, then back at me, asked if I was sure. I nodded. He handed me $400. That's what 18 years of promises were worth. For $100 and a fake smile. By noon, I'd emptied our shared bank accounts. My name was still on everything. I transferred half to a private savings account and left her the other half with a note. Buy yourself another life. This one's over. Then I did the one thing she probably didn't expect. I reached out to a lawyer. I didn't want revenge in court. I wanted clean. Fast. Final. The lawyer's name was Brad Holloway. Ex-Marine, sharp eyes, no patience for bull. When I told him about the trip, the video, the messages, he leaned back in his chair, shook his head, and said, "You've got a stronger case than steel." Good, I said, because I'm done playing nice. Brad started drawing up divorce papers that day. I gave him everything: texts, emails, even screenshots of her and Chase playing house in Milan. He asked if I wanted to go after spousal support. I laughed. If she wants money, she can ask Chase. I'm keeping my peace. That night, she called again. This time, she didn't even try to apologize. You're blowing this way out of proportion, Tom, she snapped over the line. It was just a trip. You're acting like I murdered someone. You murdered us, I said. And now I'm just burying the body. Click. No more calls after that. But the silence didn't bring peace. It brought something worse: flashbacks. Flashbacks to our first date. To her laugh when she spilled coffee on my lap. To the time I stayed up 3 nights in a row when her mom was in the hospital, just so she didn't have to be alone. To our wedding, her vows: no matter where life takes us, I'll never walk alone. What a joke. She didn't just walk away, she sprinted. And she took everyone with her. Even my parents. I hadn't spoken to them since the video. They didn't call. Didn't text. I guess choosing Jess was easier than facing their son's pain. So I sent them an email. Simple. Short. Thanks for the surprise. Don't bother coming back. And I blocked them too. I'd lost everything except one thing: my pride. And I was going to rebuild with that if it killed me. The next week was war. Silent, cold war. She tried to access the house. I had her removed. She filed a complaint. I countered with proof of infidelity. She sent Rachel to mediate. I laughed in Rachel's face and closed the door. Then something happened. Out of nowhere, Chase called me. I picked up. Just once. His voice was smooth. Polished. The kind of voice that sounded like it wore expensive cologne. Tom, man to man, I just wanted to say, don't. I cut him off. You don't get to play decent now. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. Then why did you? Silence. Then he said something that sent ice down my spine. She told me you knew. That you were okay with it. I froze. What? She said you had an arrangement. That the passion was gone, and you were fine with her seeing someone on the side. I couldn't even speak. My hands were shaking. My vision blurred with rage. She told him that? I hung up without a word. My phone hit the wall 5 seconds later. She'd rewritten the entire story. Turned herself into some bored, oppressed wife and me into a spineless cuckold. She was covering her tracks by burying me in lies. That night, I drank too much. I stared at the wall for hours. I thought about burning the whole damn house down and starting from ashes. But I didn't. Because she wanted me broken. And I was just getting started. 3 days passed. No calls. No messages. No drama. Which, coming from Jessica, meant a storm was brewing. I started waking up at 5 a.m. every morning, hitting the gym before the sun even broke the sky. Every rep, every drop of sweat felt like a hammer slamming into the version of me she tried to destroy. The Tom she called dull, predictable, weak. That Tom was dead. But the pain wasn't. It showed up in weird places. I'd reach for a coffee mug and remember how she used to sneak cinnamon into mine, saying, "You always drink like an old man." I'd turn the key in the front door and expect to hear her humming in the kitchen. I'd check my phone out of habit, expecting a message that said, "Miss you. Come home soon." But now, the only humming came from the fridge, and the only messages were from banks and lawyers. Then it happened. She showed up again. Not at the door this time, but at my job. I was in the middle of reviewing a pitch when I looked up and saw her in the lobby through the glass. Security didn't stop her. She still had that manipulative charm, the smile that made people forget to think. I walked out, jaw tight. "What the hell are you doing here?" She gave me this fake innocent look and said, "Can we talk in private?" "No." "Tom, please." I said no. People were starting to stare. I could feel my team's eyes burning through the back of my skull. She started, then glanced around and leaned in, whispering like we were still a couple, like she still had access to me. "I need your help." I blinked. "My help? You've lost your mind." "It's Chase," she hissed. "He's not who I thought he was." I crossed my arms. "What? Your prince turned out to be a frog." Her eyes darted, anxious. "He's not just cheating, he's threatening me. He found out I was talking to a divorce lawyer. He said if I leave, he'll ruin me. Financially. Publicly." I stared at her, trying to decide whether she was acting or unraveling. Then she grabbed my arm. "Tom, please. You're the only one I trust." I laughed. Actually laughed in her face. "You don't trust me. You just burned every bridge, and now you're looking for one that didn't collapse." Tears welled up in her eyes. "I messed up." "No, Jess," I said coldly, pulling my arm away. "You built a whole new life and gave me a funeral invite." She swallowed hard. "Can I just stay with you for a few days? Until I figure out what to do?" I took a long breath, looked her in the eye, and said, "No." Her face cracked. She wasn't used to rejection. Not from me. Not from anyone. I turned around, walked back into the office, left her standing there in her designer coat and her fake panic. 2 hours later, I got a call from Brad. "Tom," he said, tone sharp. "You sitting down? Just tell me." She filed a counterclaim. Said you were abusive. Claimed emotional manipulation, financial control, and neglect. I felt my stomach drop. "You're kidding." "I wish." "She's trying to paint you as the villain. She wants alimony now. Claims she gave up her career for your toxic ego." I didn't respond. My jaw clenched so hard I thought my teeth would crack. "She's pushing for emergency support. Temporary possession of the house." "She doesn't live here," I barked. "I changed the locks." "She told the court you locked her out unjustly. That she was seeking safety." I nearly put my fist through the wall. "That lying." "I'm filing a rebuttal," Brad interrupted calmly. "Send me everything, those emails, the video, the messages with Chase. We'll bury her in truth." I hung up and walked outside. I needed air. I needed distance. But I couldn't escape the feeling building in my chest, that burning, that bitter twist that comes when someone you love turns into a predator. She wasn't just a cheater now. She was a threat. And the war had officially begun. The court date was set. 2 weeks from now, I'd be sitting across from the woman I married, only now she'd be wearing a lawyer's armor, swinging lies like daggers, trying to strip me of everything I'd built. I spent those 2 weeks preparing for battle. Not just with Brad, with myself. Because part of me still asked why. Not what she did. I knew that now. But why she needed to destroy me after she'd already betrayed me. Why wasn't leaving enough? Brad told me, some people can't let go unless they convince themselves you deserved it. And if they have to rewrite history to sleep at night, they'll burn the truth to the ground. Jessica wasn't just trying to leave. She wanted to erase me. I gathered everything. Emails, texts, the video, even a screenshot from Chase's stupid dating app profile that matched the shirt he wore in Italy. It painted a clear picture. While she claimed abuse and neglect, she was traveling Europe on my dime and bragging to her lover about how easy it was to handle old Tom. I didn't eat much. Didn't sleep either. Just kept grinding. Focused. Cold. Then the next surprise came. Tanya texted me. "Check your DMs. Thought you'd want to see this." I opened Instagram. There it was. A photo of Jessica. In a club. In LA. Not hiding. Not laying low. wrapped around Chase's neck again, except this time she was in a skin-tight red dress, holding a champagne bottle like a trophy. The caption? Winning looks good on us. Tagged, #power couple, #no regrets. No regrets. She was preparing a courtroom speech about trauma and victimhood, while partying in plain sight like the spoiled brat she really was. I sent the screenshot to Brad. His reply came fast. Judge is going to love this. 2 nights before court, she showed up again. This time, I didn't answer the door. I watched through the peephole as she pounded her fist against the wood, yelling, Tom, I know you're in there. Stop hiding like a coward. I didn't move. You think you're going to win? You think that little lawyer of yours is going to save you? You're nothing without me. The words were wild, almost frantic. She sounded unhinged. Then silence. 5 minutes later, a text. You made me into this. You broke me first. Blocked. That was the last straw. The next morning, I stood in front of the mirror, suit sharp, eyes darker than I remembered ever seeing them. I wasn't nervous. I wasn't scared. I was done. When we entered the courtroom, she walked in like a pageant queen. High heels, crocodile tears, that soft whimper in her voice like she practiced it in front of the mirror for days. Her lawyer started with his performance. Jessica Langston, she was using his last name now, has endured years of quiet suffering, emotional isolation, neglect so deep it drove her into the arms of another man. I could barely keep from laughing. Brad stood up, calm and surgical. He laid out the timeline. The trip. The video. The text messages. The Chase phone call. The screenshots from Instagram. Then he dropped the bomb. A recorded voicemail I didn't know he had. Jessica, yelling at my door. Screaming about how I'd never win. How I made her this way. Cursing. The courtroom was quiet after that. Her lawyer looked pale. The judge glanced at Jessica like he was seeing through her makeup and crocodile show. Mrs. Langston, he said coldly, you expect this court to believe you feared your husband, yet you appeared uninvited at his residence 3 times, contacted him over 80 times in 1 week, and posted celebratory photos with your alleged abuser's replacement? She opened her mouth, but no words came out. My lawyer whispered to me, we just won. By the time court adjourned, I had the house. I had my accounts. I had a clean divorce on the table with no alimony, no assets lost. She'd get what she came with and nothing more. As she passed me on the way out, she looked me dead in the eyes and said, you'll regret this. One day, when no one loves you. I smiled. Calm. Steady. I'd rather be alone than ever loved by you again. She left in silence. And for the first time since this nightmare began, I felt free. The morning after court, I woke up to silence. Not the cold, empty kind I'd been drowning in for weeks, but peaceful silence. The kind that settles into your bones like the first deep breath after holding it underwater too long. I stood at the window with a mug of coffee, black, no cinnamon this time, and watched the sun break across the neighborhood. Kids rode bikes. Sprinklers came on. Life was moving, indifferent to everything I'd just been through. And maybe that's what I needed. To remember that the world doesn't stop spinning just because someone rips your heart out. My phone buzzed. A single notification, your divorce has been finalized. I stared at it for a long time, then deleted the entire thread. The photos, the videos, every file tied to Jessica. Gone. I didn't do it out of forgiveness. I did it because I refused to carry her weight any longer. Later that day, I boxed up the last few things she'd left behind, some old perfume bottles, a pair of heels, a journal she never finished, and dropped them off at a donation center. I didn't leave a note. I didn't care if she noticed. On the way home, I stopped at the park where we used to walk our dog. He passed years ago, but I sat on the same bench where we used to laugh about names for imaginary kids. For a second, I let myself remember the good. Not to miss her, but to bury it. That version of us? It's gone. And I'm okay with that. A week later, I started therapy. Not because I was broken, but because I needed to understand why I tolerated less than I deserved for so long. The therapist, an older guy named Dr. Markham, listened quietly while I unpacked years of slow disrespect that I'd labeled as normal marriage stuff. You didn't lose her, he told me. You lost the illusion she created. That hit hard. Because it was true. I didn't miss Jessica. I missed the version of her that only existed in my head. The woman who loved me, who had my back, who dreamed the same dreams. That woman never really existed. 1 month after the final hearing, I posted one last photo on Instagram. Me. On a hiking trail at sunrise. Sweat-soaked, smiling, eyes clear. The caption read, Surprise. I survived. No drama. No follow-up. Just that. The DMs rolled in old friends, coworkers, even strangers. Some said they were proud. Some told me their own horror stories. One message stood out. From a woman I hadn't seen in years. I saw what happened. And I just want you to know, you're not dull. You're the strongest damn man I know. I smiled. Not because I was ready to move on with someone else, but because I finally remembered who I was before she tried to rewrite me. I was Tom Parker. I was loyal. I was kind. I was patient. And now? I was free. So if you're reading this, some guy out there wondering if staying quiet will save your marriage, if tolerating her mood swings or emotional distance is just part of the deal, if you're starting to forget who you were before you met her, hear me now. You don't have to bleed to prove you loved her. You don't have to stay just because you started. And if she ever looks you in the eye and tells you you're not enough, walk away. Because real love doesn't make you feel small. It builds you. And you, my friend, you deserve to be built up, not broken down. The end.